There is nothing. Only warm primordial blackness. Your conscious ferments in it. No larger than a single grain of malt. You don't have to do anything anymore. Ever. Never, ever. Never, ever, ever, baby. An inordinate amount of time passes. It is utterly void of struggle. No ex-wives are contained within it. An awareness creeps up on you. A mass lies hidden in your dead angle, soaking in some lurid acidic sauce. It's bloated and shameful, a pool of meat surrounding you. This is a terrible line of questioning, and it will only lead to more awareness of the meat thing. Ex-love, ex-tenderness. It is foolish of you to resurface to the loss. Not after all the damage you've suffered to get here. Some of it irreversible. Stay. Sail with me through the abyssopelagic zone. Alright, nothing down to fuck all, borough. Great choice, Elder One. It has always been like this, and it always will. The song of death is sweet and endless. But what is this? Somewhere in the sore, bloated man-meat around you. A sensation. Like a fly to the ointment, your conscience sticks to it. The limbed and headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is firing up again. It wants to walk the desert, hurting, longing, dancing to disco music. The stench of liquor rises from your mouth, and with it, an ungodly headache. A fiery streak penetrates your skull, trying to force your eyes open. It's a sound.
Somehow, you know what it is. A caprice commanding you to perish. This fan has two chain pull switches. One ends in a tiny fan, the other in a light bulb. A truly horrific necktie has somehow attached itself to one of the blades. You reach out to grab the tie, but what's this? Diffuse, radiating chest pain. Doom comes up. This is bad. Feels like for quite a long time. Still ongoing. Now is a good time to start worrying. Finally, the pressure recedes. You find yourself covered in cold sweat and trying not to move. You know what you should do. You should stop the fan and then try again. It'll get easier. Do it if you want to die. The stabbing pain in your chest is telling you you're hanging by a thread here. The window stands broken in its frame. Cold wind blows in. The morning light hurts your eyes. It's hazy, but you see the ocean and some war-torn buildings. You hear a jingle. Keys are clinking in the pocket of your flare-cut pants. It says whirling in rags on the aluminium keyring. There is a single key on the ring. The number 1 is etched on it. It should open the door. The whirling in rags is a hostel cafeteria on the urban coast, frequented by dock workers. This fan has two chain pull switches. One ends in a tiny fan, the other in a light bulb. A truly horrific necktie has somehow attached itself to one of the blades. The blades come squeaking to a halt. It should be easier to reach the tie now. You swoop up and catch the tie. Snap! It's released from the blade. What you have in your hand is a truly hideous necktie with 4 or 5 different patterns. The knot reminds you of a noose. The young woman raises a cigarette to her lips. Her eyes are brown and her face is speckled with birthmarks. She can't be more than 28.
No.
The young woman shakes her head slowly.
No. You're a police officer, sir. I am, yes. Unless you've been feeding us a set of very well-rehearsed lies all this time. You've been here for 3 days. On official police business, no less. I couldn't say. In truth, so far, mostly drinking.
You have no doubt about the drinking. But do you strike yourself as a tight-lipped drunk? She must have heard something.
Could it be because of the drinking?
She hasn't had time to put her makeup on. This is her morning cigarette. She looks tired, her beauty waning faster than it ought to at her age.
Don't be so harsh on yourself. They let almost anyone be a police officer. Of course. Be careful, officer. They don't like the police around here.
Something stirs in you as she's about to go. Call it an instinct, a need. The need to ask questions. It's like you've said the words a million times before. She looks back at you, a light glinting off her eyes. You're a cop, Harry. It is unnatural of you not to want to ask questions.
Yes. The dock workers are pretty cocky. They think they're police enough. At least here on the coast. I can't say about the rest of the city. You're in a hostel, sir. We are in Revachol.
Revachol is the disgraced former capital of the world, divided into zones of control under foreign occupation. Half a century after a failed world revolution, she is central to our moment in time.
You sure look like you're from Revachol. Revachol parties.
Her accent suggests she is not from around here. She's from Aranier, another part of the world.
It's 51. The current century? Centuries don't have numbers. They have names. And this is the current one. Civilization has existed for 8,000 years, sir. You're right. There is nothing funny about civilization. There was the usual ruckus. Loud disco music. I couldn't say. It's impossible to hear people speaking from over here. Oh, yes. Various artists. Ostentatious orchestration prime among them.
Oh, that. Yeah. Whoa. The less said about OO, the better.
OO were huge where I come from. I was very young then, of course. Like 7. Life gets hard, but we go on. I don't know about that. At around 2 o'clock, the disco stopped, and there was a change of pace. A slow, sad song started playing, like organ music on repeat. That went on for quite a while. Some of the time, you were yelling along to it. That it doesn't matter anymore and that we're alone now, it was difficult to tell. The song itself was very quiet and soft, but you sounded like a winded boar, sir. It was hard to understand what you were singing on top of it. Don't be. I was going out later anyway. It didn't bother me. Then you started screaming and trashed the place. No, it didn't sound like there was a fight. It sounded like someone was trashing their room. A window was smashed. The tape player, probably. The song stopped. And furniture, too. A real destructathon. There was screaming. Then I think you passed out. There was. I think you screamed that you didn't want to be this type of animal anymore. I may have misheard, but it was sort of memorable. I went out afterwards. Everything was quiet by then. around 4 or 5. And that was it. Glad to have been of assistance.
You should totally sing karaoke here, the first chance you get. Your emotions need to be expressed. People need to know your vast, oceanic soul. Of course, at this point, precise measurements of your soul can only be performed from the outside. It's through a PA system, by other people. You should sing the sad, slow song you were listening to last night. Thought it was obvious. No, don't sing the happy song. It's stupid. Sing the sad song. It's profound. You have to find out how the song goes first, though. Maybe a tape of something appropriate would help. You should sing the sad, slow song you were listening to last night. Thought it was obvious. Serves them right. Wipe that smirk off their face with your sad. You have to find out how the song goes first, though. Everything is cool between you and this guy. He's a big fan. Make some small talk. This is the Great Skua. The seabird is the symbol for the discovery of the Insulindian Isola. The small steel tag says as much. The Great Skua. Steaquarius Skua.
Look, your buddy is over there. Why don't you go and talk to him, okay? No, I'm not the bartender. I'm the cafeteria manager.
He's very animated all of a sudden. This seems like a touchy subject.
I have 3 cafeterias to manage. 3. Sylvie tends the bar here, not me. I'm only standing in. She just, you know.
His eyes dart from left to right. This man isn't lying, but he is hiding something.
So now you recall. Forget it.
Hello, sweetie. You shouldn't keep your colleague waiting.
The theme on that pinball machine is a standard royalist theme, used on everything from pinball cabinets to clinging to a picture book version of the past century, waiting for the king to come back and cast out all the profiteers and homosexuals. Basically, imagine a yellow plastic crown with a liquor brand emblazoned on it. The contemporary period stands still. The fated carousel of progress that doomed the royalists is itself winding down. Our time is decelerating into what no one knows. On the sleeve of his bomber jacket, as well as on its back, are the same enigmatic white rectangles as on your blazer.
Hello, I'm Kim Kitsuragi, Lieutenant, Precinct 57. You must be from the 41st.
No, you won't. Raphael Ambrosius Cousteau. Sounds solemn and historical. This is an opportunity to start your life anew as a classier person.
Yes, well,
Not for a moment does he believe that's your real name. He casts it aside as an intra-departmental joke or a peculiarity he doesn't understand.
it looks like we had a little scheduling error on Sunday. Saturday too, actually. Have you had time to talk to the manager here?
What he means is, he has been trying to meet up with you for 2 days, but you have been otherwise occupied.
if you don't mind, we should talk to him again. Ask him for a rundown of the area, now that I'm here as well. I understand the scene is out back, right? It also wouldn't hurt to assure him the police are finally here. In full force, I mean. Have you mapped out the initial interviews? Okay, we'll have time for that after we take a look at the coroner's case. Have you removed the dead body from the tree? Mm-hmm. So, the body is still in the tree, where it has been hanging for 7 days straight. We should go there as soon as we are done talking to the owner. After you, officer.
If you're about to embark on an investigation, shouldn't you have a badge?
You mean you don't have a badge? Losing your identification card is a serious matter. My vehicle has a shortwave. You can use it to report your badge missing. I advise you to try to locate it as quickly as possible, but getting the body down should still take precedence. Mr. Gart, right? You run this place.
Yes.
I am Kim Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. This is an inter-district investigation, so joining me from Precinct 41. Right. Now, I know it took us a while to arrive at the scene. It also took you a while to call us and report the dead body. It was you who placed the call, yes?
No, I only just got here. It was probably Sylvie who called you. She usually works the bar here. I'm only temporarily taking over her duties.
Do you have her number?
As a matter of fact, I do.
This sounds like something you can use to call this Sylvie later.
You said you just got here. From where? Are you a local?
What, of Martinez? No, I live in Jamrock. I only sometimes come here to keep an eye on the place. This is just one of the many, many cafeterias I manage.
But you still know your way around, yes? In case we need directions.
Yes, I know where some things are, but as I said, I don't live here. I just used to work here. And I'm not going to start working here again, if that's what you think.
I didn't imply that. Detective.
He probably means this is where you step in and ask your questions. Ask him about the body's location before asking if he killed him. People give up information in the more innocuous questions, which you can later use in the more sinister ones, not vice versa.
Haven't you asked me that already? What is it with you and this woman? She has nothing to do with this. Okay, you got me. She went away because of the dead body out back. And because I asked for her number. That's why Sylvie went away. I hope you appreciate that.
Thank you.
Is it? Because I thought you were supposed to be investigating the lynching, not my employer conduct. Good for you. Was there something else? I'd like to get back to what I was doing. Behind this building, there's a courtyard. They hoisted him up on a tree there. That's easy. See that door there? First you exit through that. Then, to your right, you should see a big hole in the fence. A really big one. You can get to the courtyard through there. No need for the keys. The hole is big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry to fit through.
This man means the heavy cavalry of the innocents Franco-Negro, sweeping over the plains and nations of the enemies of mankind. 5th century style, unified currency and the concept of cool came in their wake. They wore lamella and carried guns. But first and foremost, Franco-Nigerian heavy cavalry was really, really wide. That hole in the fence must be enormous.
I don't know who killed him. I'm not the police. That's your job.
This is it. He said they hoisted him up on a tree. Who is this they, if he doesn't know?
Oh, people are saying it was the union dock workers, that it was a lynching. The locals, the customers, the people who eat here, a lot of dock workers eat here. Sylvie told me everyone knows the dock workers did it.
Did the debarders themselves tell her this, or is it a rumor?
I don't really know. You'll have to ask her. I would suppose it's because they have nothing better to do.
You mean the strike?
Yes, the strike. The man they hanged was a security guard for the harbour company, I hear. A mercenary. The unionistas probably thought they'd send a message.
Let's go.
Not so fast. You owe me 130 real.
One moment you're running like the wind, then you've suddenly turned around and are giving him the finger, furiously, with both hands. Why? That's true, yes, and it's worrying. But let's not fixate on it. Look at that stupid bartender instead. He has no idea what's going on. You...
Watch out!
Everything goes dark.
Back so soon. It was no accident. Those were disco moves from your spinal cord. The spinal cord has yet to reveal itself to you. Its mysteries our unholy mystery. You are way cool. Cooler, I was wrong to let you go. I should have kept you here. Is it bright where you are? Is it?
That is too bad. We all need a little love. Are you okay?
No, you have sustained a trauma to your lower neck. In addition, you have strained your left trapezius muscle. Pain surges down your back when you move.
Ma'am, are you all right?
Oh, I'm fine. He just tripped over my chair. Check on him.
Sir, I didn't mean for this to happen. I'm sorry. This has always been a cop-friendly place. The drinks are on the house, okay? There were a lot of drinks on the tab. I still have to charge you for 3 nights and the broken window, though. That's 100 square.
He's shaken. Barter now and he'll cave in.
Okay, fine. I'll take it off your bill. Sleep in a post-apocalyptic hellhole if you want to. Just know I won't give you another room. Don't thank me yet. You still owe me 60 real for 3 nights stay. If you don't have it by tonight, I just can't let you up there. And for God's sake, watch out for yourself.
By the way, where is home? The address is coming up blank, and this place sure isn't it. But you've been at this hostel cafeteria for only 3 nights. Where were you before? You had to be somewhere. You don't really know, do you? A vague, blackened image doesn't sound like somewhere you can stay if you run out of money. You can try. Run some addresses in your head when you get the time. Maybe a street or an apartment will appear.
Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. If you insist. What do you want to know? That's because I'm half Seolite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul. So was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. It's not an interesting topic. I don't speak a word of Seolite, and I've never met it. That's correct.
You feel a slight urge to put the lieutenant down for this, but you can't quite muster enough testosterone.
Are they? They are mostly just cumbersome. What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The lieutenant's conceptualization skills must be rather rudimentary.
I can't say that it does, no. When I need to think, I just use my notebook.
We all have our different mediums. His is written.
No. Good. Let's change the subject. What do you want to know? No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a pissing competition. You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. Better still than an imbecile cop-off. It's just stupidity. We shouldn't waste any more time on it. If you want my take, ask me after we've inspected the victim. Later. Was there anything else you wanted to know about the case? Good.
see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. The tire tracks were left here by an unknown event that took place some days ago. It's a message, written in the language of burnt rubber. Some of that rubber stuck to the tiles right in front of the whirling in rags. This is point A. The driver started there, and then accelerated straight into the fence, left a hole big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry, according to the cafeteria manager. The driver proceeded to back out of the yard, barely stopping before hitting the adjacent building. Before heading south, must have been in a hurry.
You are correct. This is a rather motor carriage-friendly city. I'm not sure. There are plenty of traffic accidents waiting to happen in Martinez.
You could follow the track south. There seems to be a canal there. See where they went. If you find... There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. Heavy workers' boots with reinforced toes and hobnails all over them. Isn't this something an industrial worker would wear? Maybe more than 12. No, 8 pairs of boots have shuffled back and forth in the mud. One, standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 46. 2, standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 3, hobnailed work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 43. 4, standard work boot, number 45 or 46. You don't know. It's a miracle you can tell the prints apart as it is. The cold must have preserved them. 5, another standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 6, an aberration, light as air, even pace, same make of boot, but number 41. Impossible to tell. Could also have been an adolescent. The gait is undeveloped. You're not bad. It's as if the whole world darkens. Everything else has a thin film of unimportance on it. And 7, the glowing outline of a standard work boot, number 46. But the 8, and yet another standard work boot, number 44. There's an aberration in the pattern of the sole, however.
How many? I was pretty off then. I counted 20. I never got the hang of it. Hyperopia. Do you see anything out of the ordinary? A woman or a kid? Okay. How do you know?
He knows it's hard to discern sex from a person's gait.
Understood. Anything else? 200? Could it be the combined weight of 2 people, one carrying the other who's tied up? Let's say a heavily built worker carrying a...
He might be right. 200 kilograms of living weight is unlikely.
Possibly, yes.
But why?
Yes, they could have used a makeshift stretcher or just march him up to the gallows. Even easier to carry on a stretcher, or between two men. Anyway, it's for future consideration. What else can you see? Interesting. Let's name it the Old Soul. Someone operating a workbench with a pedal? Like a joiner at the harbor. Or maybe a drummer? A drummer only uses their right foot for the kick drum. You're right, it's stupid. Perhaps it could be a driver. A driver would wear the right shoe before the left. The accelerator is on the right. We should keep our eyes open around the traffic jam. See whether anyone strikes out as a potential suspect. Seems prudent, no? Mm-hmm. A week, maybe? 7 days would fit the time frame provided to us by the caller, who reported the hanging.
It is not impossible.
I pulled last week's forecast for coastal Havashol. 7 days below freezing. The day before, the day of his hanging, was the last warm day.
Correct again. Sub-zero temperatures will preserve the tracks in a good state. The commotion here could have taken place a week ago.
What do I think? A mob of people brought something heavy to the tree. One of them was carrying the victim. They shuffled around, especially under the tree. Then, after hoisting him up, they stood in a semicircle facing his direction. At first glance, this appears to be a lynching.
Indeed, they all stood in a row here and looked at the tree. Yes, everything fits so well. Carried him over, hoisted him up, watched him hang. This is...
Either way. What else? Active decay. It's okay to throw up, officer. No one is judging.
He's about to blow! Cock's gonna blow, Kuno!
As you breathe in, the odor comes over you. It's a spell of the mind telling you to run, and your stomach to wring itself empty. With your hands at your sides and your eyes squinting, you stand in it.
They do after 7 days, yes. We are deep in decomposition here.
delicate and fragile. They feel alien to the world around you, out of place somehow. These are clearly not boots. They're armor.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, not boots.
Oh, the lieutenant uses a memo technique, A6. That's not just any notebook. It's a classic. It's clearly some manner of super armor. Or future armor? Super future armor? I'm useless.
Ceramic plate. Zirconium dioxide, most likely. This is where the make would be. Under the hill. Fair weather. Fair weather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff. It is. It's expensive. We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. The constabularies deemed it too costly. In that time, we've lost 6 men to semi-automatics. For a full set, about 4 years of wages.
For the northwest region of Revachol, an officer's average yearly income is 5,500 real, unadjusted for rank.
Not too much, yes. It's a sorry situation, I agree. The locals probably scavenged it. It would be odd if he had more on after 7 days. We should keep a lookout for these pieces. The armor could yield information. Maybe he'll know something. No, he must have worn something precious underneath his clothes. They've removed all his clothes to get to it. They did not just strip him for the putrid rags. Someone could have cleaned the yard, but that's a question for the red hat thing.
I hear you talking shit about the Kuno. Come here and say it to Kuno's face. You wanna fuck me, huh? You wanna fuck the Kuno?
They usually hang them completely naked for that. La puta madre, the Mazda, the Besmerties and the like. This one still has his underpants.
What? Are you trying to ignore me now, fuckface?
Kuno, this boots shit is super boring and the guy's a total Victopaz.
That's for us to find out. Mr. Gart implied he was security personnel for the harbor company. This confirms my own assumptions. I agree. This equipment is way beyond what a guard can afford. It's anything but. This material is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads kinetic energy horizontally, from plate to plate, dissipating it entirely.
Like whirls of floorboards. The design looks organic, influenced by highly resistant wood materials, like lignum vitae and ebony perhaps. If trees were made of porcelain, this is what their cross-sections would look like. The smooth, glossy surface fractures into ever more intricate interconnections. The whirls are in the shape of a letter and number combination, E50, 100, 1000.
Good. Can you read it to me?
X5415 6745 678 222. Let's lie.
That doesn't sound like a serial number. Where's the structure and logic of a line of manufactured products? Well, no matter. We should run it anyway.
True. It didn't have the cadence and logic of a real manufactured item.
Officer, the decomposing corpse has temporarily suspended my sense of humor. Let's continue in a less playful manner. Anyway, we have a make and a number. That's something. We can use the radio in my kinema when we're done. Either station can chase it for us.
Stop!
Pig's gonna pull his head off.
Brutal!
Even the mongrels can see you're about to pull his head off.
Do it, homo!
Yes, that's what I say. You'll compromise the coroner's case if you do. So,
Indeed, from this angle, it does look like the neck isn't going to take much more. Being dead for a week has all but liquefied his muscles.
what are you trying to achieve anyway? Why are you hanging on to that boot? Try what exactly?
If you can't experiment, how will you learn?
I don't think we should do anything just for the hell of it. Besides, there's no way you're getting them off. All the organic matter in his body has been flowing down into the boots. They are fused to his feet now. Why do you think the locals haven't scavenged them yet?
There might still be a way to peel them off, but first the body needs to be down. And second, it would probably be better if the lieutenant wasn't around. The anticipation makes you crack your fingers. Feels nice. Nice and cracky.
Processing will take care of that. With the situation in the morgue, it will yield nothing. But we must pick our fights. Should we continue?
This is a steel-reinforced cargo lashing belt.
Airlifting. I thought it was used on lorries for strapping cargo to them. The local harbor uses 6 rotors to shuffle containers around. I get the sense they use whatever was on hand, without paying much attention to not incriminating themselves. The brief suggested as much, politically motivated by the ongoing strike. Did you not get a briefing? Okay, you should ask me for one the first moment we get. I was afraid it would be. thin steel wiring, parallel strands. This makes getting him down more problematic than I had assumed. A noose is one of those things that's easier to use one way around. That ladder can't carry a grown man. I didn't see any splintering either, did you? I think they lassoed the branch, then pulled on the belt to close the buckle.
Could be. The shape of the branch supports the theory.
I have only a cursive knowledge of the science of cybernetics. I would not know if it were. But it's not quite complex enough, is it?
It doesn't seem familiar from the insides of any radio computer your mind can imagine. The somewhat organic lines remind you of old filament memory units.
So am I.
He wears a wide leather belt around his waist, and he takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket and pulls it open. Sounds like a sword being unsheathed. A small lens appears.
A Trigger Sunshine Mini.
Triggered is the world's leading manufacturer of intercommunication devices, primarily.
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera. I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
A sound, a shrill flash, followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the thick, glossy piece of paper, rolling.
In case we need it. Yes, it is pretty cool, isn't it?
There is only one ampoule left. Use it wisely.
It contains insight to the victim's person. By his build, I'd say this was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is his letter, to us. Someone should decipher it. We'll need to show it around. Sure, just don't lose it.
A child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up miraculously. This is a trick. You've done it before. Pink is where the blood settled in the first hours post-mortem. You can use it to see if the corpse has been tampered with. Does his position at the time of death match the discoloration?
I see it. His neck too. The lividity goes right up his chin. We have good, well-pronounced So, what do you think? I do. Most of them are post-mortem. Maybe even all of them. The delinquents have made our jobs.
Stop talking in riddles, coin slot.
It means you fucked him up good, Kuno. Fucked him up brutal-like.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion at the time.
The fuck he's saying?
Talking about shit.
Did we? I don't feel lucky. Agreed, especially on the neck. The belt acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head. The hypostasis supports her hanging. Yes, there's always a chance we are wrong. We should check for ligament marks on his neck to see if they're in tune with the belt. We'll have to get him down first. Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done. The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters.
He doesn't actually think the challenge is unique. He thinks it's frustrating, annoying, and harder than he thought.
The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting the airship strength material. Climb up there and saw the branch? There has to be a less risky way, with less falling down of trees. Someone else? You mean like...
What was that about processing, then? Weren't they supposed to take care of the boots? Why don't they help?
Someone like a paid garbage man? Or a cleaning crew? I have bad news for you. That is, I know it's hard, but I assure you, the others won't come to help us. And we have a growing sanitary concern here. We need to get him down, fast. I was really hoping we wouldn't. The Union appeared to be suspect in this case.
I would really prefer if there was another way. These people might have an agenda.
Yeah! Bang bang time, pig! Shoot his head off!
How?
Where the buckle ties the rope to the branch. That's a good spot to aim.
Where? Ah, yes, I see. If the shot hits that, there might be a chance to release the belt.
Yeah, now we're talking. Entertain the Kuno with some shit.
They'll miss. The pigs will miss Kuno.
The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He appears too deep in concentration to even notice what you said.
I'll blow his head off.
Take it.
Yeah, take the shot. Kuno wants some of that shit.
Silence. With his elbow sharp, the lieutenant and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge 5 tucks, securing it in place. That's a Kiel A9090 Armistice, mass-produced muzzleloader, ascetic, frugal, one of the most common firearms in the world. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's desk position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is on the...
He's gonna fucking miss.
The kid's voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes off the walls of the surrounding tenements. A clap.
God damn it.
A lot of things were wrong with that shot. The fellow's desk was the wrong choice. His shoulders were raised, but above all,
Fucking idiot.
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he? Kuno's sorry too. Kuno feels sorry for the Beano Clan.
the lieutenant doesn't say a word, just looks at the gun in his hand.
Remain collegial, officer. It was an honest mistake, and I will not repeat it. No, we are lucky as it is. We didn't break anything, and the victim remains uncompromised. Any more mistakes could put us in an unfortunate position with the locals. We have eyes on us. I didn't do us any favors with that. I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down.
You know, you don't feel like too bad of a shot yourself.
It's bad as it is, us shooting firearms like punks here.
They only have one gun.
Oops.
This is the sorriest pair of pigs Kuno's ever seen.
Officer, why do we only have one gun? That is even more unfortunate than the badge. You need to contact your station about it as soon as possible. Try not to lose this one, please.
Yeah, take it, you fucking banana pointer. Take it and shoot yourself in the mouth. The fuck are you waiting for, Kuno? Tell him to shoot himself in the mouth. Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you won't miss.
A plume of smoke erupts from the barrel. Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. You're still coming up with sentences. That's a step up from total annihilation, right?
Yes, it can be difficult to be on the receiving end of so much distrust and outright hatred.
Nothing you can say would make you feel any